Yeah,
Yeah,
I was surprised considering the fact, number one, that Ryan Murray was available, and number two, that it cost the Devils very little to nothing. I mean, I don't think that fifth round pick, is going to be something that we're going to regret down the road. You never know, but you know, when Ryan Murray was talking with the Devils, on their media avail a couple of days ago, he said that he felt the writing was on the wall. That at this point in his career, considering where the Blue Jackets were going, that he was probably going to get moved. Also, the fact that Columbus has been, trying very hard to get a top six winger. They tried Hall, it didn't work out. They could still very well be trying to acquire Patrick Laine, if that's still a thing. I don't know. I haven't heard anything from it. But I was talking with somebody who is a Columbus Blue Jackets fan, and he said that talking about it from the Devils' perspective is that you'll love it as long as he's healthy and be indifferent if he's not. So it's one of those things where if he stays healthy, we'll be very happy to have him on the team and he'll contribute very well. If he doesn't, it's not going to be the end of the world, because if he doesn't do well, the Devils just won't bring him back. And maybe they move him at the deadline if there's somebody there. He also said that a fifth rounder is a steal for him, but given the importance of cap, Columbus is okay with it. And apparently the Chicago Blackhawks were very interested in acquiring him this past deadline for a second round pick, but Columbus didn't want to do it. So unfortunately they kind of got less value for this guy than what they possibly could have gotten at the deadline. But I like that, Fitzy did this because it also gives the Devils an excuse to have one of their younger defensemen take a little bit more time to develop, give them an extra year to, develop wherever they may be, whether it's in the minors or it's still in juniors, whatever the case may be. But I still think that there's probably two spots left on the defense that need to be filled, whether that's trading for another defenseman. I don't know who's available as a free agent. I'm actually scared to wonder who's a free agent.
Honestly, I would care less about the free agency. Speaking of young and developing, the KHL just had. How did Mikhail Vorobiev, known that 18-year-old Shakir Muhammad was back there, remains a mystery, and he scored a goal 10 hours ago in the KHL. So, boys, we got ourselves a nice young 20th overall pick who's going to start to pan out, gain some muscle. When he does come over from the KHL, maybe goes to bingo, maybe comes to the NHL route, because we have Ryan Murray developing, these kids for at least 2 years on that contract.
Yeah.
It buys them time. So this is good.
Yeah. But bottom line with Ryan Murray is simply that this is a low risk. I don't know if you call it high reward, maybe call it middle reward.
Yes.
He's just kind of like, it's one of those moves that's just going to help with the depth of the defense. And one of the things that Ryan Murray does very well is actually play the position that he's supposed to be playing, which is defense. He's going to help out from the defensive standpoint a lot more than the offensive standpoint, which is good. Just help. And again, this was a move that, went by with what Fitzgerald was saying. He was trying to build this team for the future and also to try to compete, to an extent and just be competitive now. So it was a good move. Didn't cost very much. Certainly not the move that I was expecting, but, it's still a very solid move nonetheless.
Yeah, it's all about asset management, near and long term. So let me put it this way. So I'm looking at the cap hit for basically this year. So you have everyone from Nico all the way down to Jesper Bratt, who are currently under contract, and one of them is a restricted free agent. That's only adding up to $32,338,333. Defenseman PK Subban to Murray to Severson, Butcher, Carrick, over $22,999,000. Okay, so let's call it $23 million for defense. That defense just got a little bit younger, but the Devils are still pretty stable contract-wise for the next 1 or 2 years. Goaltending, as long as we get Blackwood locked in as our I think he's going to get 3-year bridge deal. At least $4.5 million is what I think he's going to get.
Yeah, I think like Alex pointed out, I think on Twitter, shortly after it happened, that the Tristan Jarry contract with Pittsburgh is probably going to be where the Devils are kind of looking to go here with Blackwood. 3 years, 3.9, 4.2 million around that area. But yeah, that's about the area I think where Fitzgerald and the Devils are going to look at.
Yeah, I would be surprised if his deal wasn't basically the same as Tristan Jarry's. I would think it could be the exact same thing, honestly.
What I like is that the Devils have made it clear that Blackwood's the number one guy.
Yes.
They didn't, excuse my language, but they didn't dick around and try to, take Askarov at number 7 or move up in the draft to try to take him. They ended up still taking a young goaltender nonetheless in Nico Daws, but at the same time, it's been made very clear and very public that Mackenzie Blackwood is the goaltender of the future. And bringing in, and I'm sure we'll talk about this in a minute, but bringing in a guy like Corey Crawford is more of a message of we're actually trying to give you insurance to help you out, to bring in a goalie that we feel comfortable with that could play 30 games and you don't have to play 40, 50 games next season and possibly start to regress at a very young age. So that's what I like. And I agree with you, Alex, 100% that the Tristan Jarry deal is going to be probably what the Devils are going to look at and go for. And I don't think, Blackwood would be against it. The other thing that's interesting is that all the Devils RFAs, none of them filed for arbitration, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah,
they're the only.
None of them have arbitration rights, so they don't have that power to them right now. So, that'd be why. It's a good thing they don't have to do arbitration. Can get kind of messy, so it's good that they didn't have that. They don't have to deal with that this offseason.
So I think the Devils. I think right now, Fitzgerald is still probably focusing on improving the team for the now. He may not be done. I think that by the time we get closer to training camp, Bratt and Blackwood will most likely have some sort of a deal done. I don't think that the Devils are going to wait around very long to do this. I think Fitzgerald probably told both of them that they were going to get a deal done, but he wanted to do some other things first. And I think that that's why it's been kind of a smooth sailing ship as of right now, that, nothing is happening. And as far as Palmieri's situation, Jake brought up, if we're at the deadline and Palmieri's there, you move him. I would say it this way. You have to look at where are the Devils at that point next season, what exactly is being offered, and also how Palmieri's doing as well. If Palmieri's your best player, if he's like on pace for another 30 goals, but you're not getting a decent amount of offerings for him at the deadline, it may just not be worth doing, especially if Palmieri has said publicly that he really wants to be a Devil long term. And I'm not against it either. But we'll see. But going back to just kind of wrap up the Ryan Murray situation, it's a good move. And if it doesn't work out, we can either just leave it. Well, can't really do that because he's a free agent, but we could just let him walk and, no harm, no foul.
Yeah. Before we get into the Corey Crawford thing, I just want to read a couple tweets here regarding the Pietrangelo Vegas situation. Chris Johnston just tweeted like 4 minutes ago. Believe Vegas Golden Knights will have to make a corresponding move before officially papering and registering Alex Pietrangelo's new contract because they're available summer salary cap space. And I retweeted Cap Friendly 22 minutes ago, and they said, our assumption is that the contract was signed after 5 p.m. Eastern and therefore will not be officially registered by the league until tomorrow. This would then buy Vegas some additional time to make the necessary space required to accommodate Pietrangelo's AAV under the cap. So
there's a good chance that a move is going to be made within the next couple of hours.
All right, so I guess we're not sleeping tonight.
I guess we're not sleeping, unless the Devils aren't involved, which then I'm...
Yeah, but even then, I'm kind of interested to see how it all plays out, so... But I mean, it's happening in the next 24 hours, so something's going down.
I'm talking with the guys at the Hockey Pod Network that I work with, and we're all like, yeah, we're all staying up late tonight. We gotta see what's gonna happen here.
I feel like Joe, Alex, and I are going to be probably talking till about probably between 11 or 12 at this rate. If this is the rate this is going, we're not getting any sleep. So might as well stock your fridge.
I hope we wrap this up and finish this podcast before anything happens, because I got I'm not ready to stay up till 12:30 or 1 talking about 3 moves that were made within the next 3-4 hours. But I would, considering you brought that up, I would probably expect Vegas to make some move or two within the next couple of hours.
I mean, we're all biased here, and we're all fans of this team. So I mean, we have a bias towards the Devils. Like, let's not forget that. Like,
yeah, of course.
But we have the cap space to take on somebody. So one has to assume that we have to be one of the teams that might be most likely to take on somebody from Vegas. No?
Again, it all depends on, does the guy that we're getting from Vegas, whoever that is he going to fit in with what we're trying to do long term? Bringing in a guy like Pacioretty is not necessarily something that would say it's going to help us down the road. Is Pacioretty going to still be the same player by the time the Devils are competing for a Stanley Cup? No, not even close. And that's a lot of money to take up. Joe, I think don't you have their cap situation up in front of you?
Yes, I actually can do that right now.
What is Pacioretty? Just remind me what Pacioretty's contract is at this point. Like, what exactly, what is left?
Okay, so Patches is locked up until the end of the 22-23 season. That's $21 million for the next total 3 years.
What is his AAV?
What's $7
million?
$7 million. And he's what, 32?
31, going to be 32.
See, that's $7 million for a dude that's in his early 30s. I mean, we paid a crap load. We're already paying a crap load to PK Subban, who's in his 30s, and so
what a treat.
Do we want to do that again? Do we feel comfortable doing it? I mean, if we're taking on half of his salary and giving him only 4, I'm more okay with it. But Riley Smith, I like where Alex is thinking about Riley Smith. I think that would make more sense. Riley Smith isn't in his 30s yet, is he?
He's 29.
29. So he also kind of gets out of that range, because again, Fitzgerald made it clear, 26 or younger with some amount of, control. Vegas doesn't really have anybody that fits into that.
Other than Whitecloud and Nicholas Roy.
Yeah, but neither one of them is making anything.
Yeah.
It wouldn't. They would have to be included in the deal. Like, it would have to be something like the Devils get Pacioretty and also Whitecloud. Like, that would have to be the sweetener in order for the Devils to be okay with taking on $7 million over the next 2-3 years for Pacioretty's contract. So
or maybe they have to throw in that Devils second round pick that they use in the Gusev trade.
Right. They just reacquire it back. But
so like Corey Crawford, guys, like what do you? Let's get on to Corey Crawford.
Another deal that was made at 10 o'clock at night, because I couldn't, just when I was on my phone.
Does Fitzgerald just wait for all these other GMs to go to sleep?
Yeah, if Fitzgerald's going to make a deal with the Golden Knights, it's going to be at like 11:30.
Yeah,
it's going to be late. Like, we're not even going to be like ready for that. Be caught completely off guard. But I like the Corey Crawford deal because it's a 2-year deal for a guy who has Stanley Cup experience. His age is certainly something that is concerning. You wonder how much left does he have in the tank. He proved a lot during the bubble, during his time in the bubble. That what was it, Game 4, where he made something like 50 saves against the Vegas Golden Knights, played really well. If the Devils' defense is improved, which
I think it has improved.
Remains to be seen, but it still remains to be seen, because we have to see how Lindy Ruff does with this team. Corey Crawford could be a really solid veteran backup for the next 2 years, and if he's still playing at a pretty solid level, he can compete with Mackenzie Blackwood and make him that much better. So